1. All right, what's up, everybody? It's the Paulcast, and we have Lucas here. Lucas, how do you say your last name?
Senechal.
Senechal.
It's French.
Ah.
So.
All right. So I saw Lucas. I discovered you through TikTok, and I was like just scrolling like an NPC. We can talk about that later. One of the topics that came up was like video games and how if you're an entrepreneur, it's like sucking away at your creative energy, your just mental capacity, just in general. And I kind of wanted to pick your brain on that, but why don't you give us a little background on yourself, maybe just who you are, what you do for a day job, and kind of what your goals are in the future.
Yeah, well, thank you for reaching out to me on TikTok there, and just inviting me on here. I always appreciate that. So for me personally, what I do is I have a strong focus in marketing. So a lot of the creative social type of marketing. My background, I didn't go to school. I didn't do any of that. I've always been an entrepreneur. And, I tried creating a mobile app with my cousin when I was younger, probably when I was around 20. We tried creating a social media called the Ego.
Oh,
and
nice.
We raised, the idea behind it was it would show you the locations of the people around you, right? So if you're in like a club or something, you could pull up your app and you could see like all the profiles of like random strangers.
Oh,
right?
okay.
It was kind of polarizing, mixed reactions. Some people thought it was really creepy. Other people thought it was really cool.
Well, I mean, that's what Tinder does right now, basically.
Yeah, Tinder does that. And even with like the snap maps, that kind of does it a little bit to the same degree. But long story short, we raised money for that app. We tried building that app. I had to learn how to code at that time. And so I learned how to code in Android. I built the app on Android. We ended up running out of money and we closed down.
No way.
So the project failed. We worked on it for about 2 years and the project failed, but ended up getting some experience in the marketing world. And so from there, worked a lot of marketing jobs, worked with some podcast influencers and stuff. And out of that, I ended up coming across a company, which I am currently senior partner in, called the VIP Club. And that's all like database marketing through email for professionals. So if you're like a mortgage broker, a realtor, a dentist, anything like that, we basically run automatic campaigns for you every month through email.
Okay.
I won't really touch too much on that, but that's sort of my main bread winning job. That's sort of what pays the bills. And then on top of that, I also build social profiles. So I built a TikTok from zero to at the beginning of 2021. I built a TikTok from 0 to 375,000 followers in about 8 months, all organic. I can't say which channel it is because currently there's a face reveal at 1 million followers on that channel. So I'm not going to expose which channel that is, but so I've been working on that.
Oh, so it's more of like shared content. You haven't really showed your face on it at all.
No, I haven't. I can't really say too much about it.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, like I have a face reveal on there at about 1 million followers.
Okay.
So almost halfway there, and then I've also built a Twitter channel to about 20,000 followers. That's kind of in the crypto world. Just recently, I kind of going back to your original question regarding the NPC thing. Just recently, I created this TikTok channel, which you found me on about a month ago.
Oh, okay.
I've had the idea rolling around in my head since the beginning of this year, actually. And sorry, that was my Alexa just talking to me.
Oh, dude, she's always listening.
Yeah, well, I pre-programmed her to every I think it's like every 3 hours for her to tell me to go drink some water
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
because I never drink enough water. So, but yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that's great. And then with the whole NPC thing, like why don't you give us some background on that? Like, well, so you have a marketing background, and you've been partnered with another company and doing marketing stuff right now. I guess kind of long term, what is like the end goal, and where do you see yourself kind of going with all this content creating in 5 years or 3 years or 1 year?
That's a good question. So from a career path, where I really want to be is coaching on the marketing side.
Oh, got it.
So that's where I would really like to be, is sort of independent business professionals, helping them get their own brand out there
Yeah,
through creative ways that doesn't cost a lot of money. My current channel, Don't Be an NPC. This is actually a passion project of mine. It's not really to. It's not like I want to, be the biggest TikTok channel, or it's more just about starting a conversation of like, hey, are we playing too many video games as a society?
sure.
Right? It's like we have so many men across the nation that are playing a lot of video games. I was part of that group up until I quit playing video games this year. What month was it? I'm just looking here. It was back in April when I decided that I was going to stop completely. So the idea was kind of born, out of that, in terms of like the decision to stop playing video games was something that was rolling around in my mind for probably years, right? So being an entrepreneur and being in and out of different businesses and stuff, and then all throughout that, the consistent thing was playing video games. I look back and see that video games took up a massive amount of my time,
Right.
and I look back and be like, if I didn't spend all that time in video games and spent it on other things, I would be a lot further ahead than I am right now, right? So I finally decided to take the plunge and just quit this year. Before I would spend like 5 hours a night probably. I was big into
Oh
League of
man,
Legends.
yeah, for sure.
So and as you probably know about that game, it's very addicting, and it's
And
something
it's
that
hyper competitive too. I mean,
yeah.
there's like I think actually Mr. Beast is considering buying a league team, and like I think they start like at the billions.
That's crazy.
It's insane how much money is in that. Um,
Yeah.
but League of Legends is highly competitive, highly saturated with sponsors, and e games is a huge thing. What rank did you get, by the way?
The highest I ever got was, I believe it was like either gold 3 or gold 2.
Okay.
So not a great player, but you
I mean,
know,
pretty decent if you're able to rank up that much.
yeah. So yeah, I was played a lot of ranks. I even had a coach right before I quit video games. I actually hired a coach.
Hey man, you gotta get it in there somehow. But so the whole video game or like quitting thing has been something that's been on my mind for, I want to say, the last 4 months. Just like you, I've been dabbling in, you know, different businesses, trying to get into sales, trying to get into starting my own business or working for other companies and selling their products. And I've always it's weird. Like my background, I was a missionary for about 8 years with the organization, one of the biggest missions organizations in the world, and I was with them for 8 years, and like literally, I can count like the number of times on my finger. Like on my hand, how many times I've like played video games. It was like even if I did play, it might have been like a smaller stints and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I was just kind of really focused on doing stuff like that. Or so video games wasn't like I grew up playing video games, but like when I got into missions, like that kind, I guess I didn't have it as so much access that I do now. But now that I've been trying to get it, make my own business and get into different things like that with like social media and promoting that type of stuff, it is something that is like so hard to break and so hard to quit because like I don't know, like you always have this rationale like, man, I just need a release. I just need to, get out some stress. I also am able to hang out with friends that are, not next to me, and it's easy to just like hang out, talk, play a game at the same at time, de-stress. So when I came across your like video, like something resonated in me because like for like the last like 4 months, I'm like, should I just throw out my PS4? Like, is that the only way that I'm gonna be able to like not play video games anymore? Because I've just had this love hate relationship. I'm like, I know I need to like be doing more and investing more and stuff like that, but at the same time, I'm like, but at the same time, I get to be with my friends, blah blah blah. So I always try to weigh the pros and the cons. Why don't you kind of give a little bit lowdown, like, so I know you quit video games, but some of the topics that they were talking about in your TikToks kind of really dived a little bit deeper and dug into that of why that is, or how much like capacity it takes away from you being creative.
Yes, yeah. So, I mean, really at its core, the main reason that I was driven to quit video games is at its core, like ever since I was young, I've had a fear of being average. Do you know what I mean? Like that feeling of like I don't want to be average. I want to do something great with my life, for that lack of a better term. And I mean, that question really boils down to what you define as success, what you define as greatness. And I mean, for a lot of people, like, yeah, I don't have the right to tell a lot of people that you should play video games. And like, I actually tell a lot of people that like my message on TikTok is for people like you who are pursuing something for a reason. And they're still playing video games, but they know video games is probably holding them back because at the end of the day, you would rather achieve your goals than actually have the pleasure from playing video games.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So I tell people like my message isn't for everyone. There's some people who are completely content with playing video games their whole life, spending most of their time there. And who am I to tell them that, no, you shouldn't live your life that way, right? Even though my TikToks come across as maybe a little bit over aggressive on the side of like being pushy and being opinionated.
Yeah.
For people that are stuck in the habit of playing video games and they know that it's holding them back, they need an extreme voice to say, stop playing video games. They're bad for you.
Right.
They need that voice to bring them to get them out of that habit, right?
Got it.
But other people that, they genuinely want to play video games with their life and they don't think it's holding them back. Well, all the power to them. It's their life. It's not my life. You're free to do what you want with your life.
Right.
So I just wanted to put that out there. going to your question in terms of like what's been sort of the benefits for me. So as soon as I quit playing video games, I noticed one of the main things was I started getting more pleasure and more dopamine from more mundane tasks. So I started getting more fulfillment and more joy out of my everyday work, out of exercising. Well, that's another thing I started doing was I started working out consistently, right? And I started actually enjoying that because when you take out, he kind of explains it in that video that I posted. When you take out video games, because video games provide so much dopamine and so much pleasure, it takes a lot more from other things to actually make you
to manufacture that same hit.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the immediate benefit was I started getting things off of my chore list. I started doing things because it's like you want to stay active. Your mind wants to stay entertained, so you actually start entertaining your mind, except in positive ways, right? So that was the one thing. Another thing is my wife said she noticed that I was a lot more present. So I mean, my wife's a gamer, and believe it or not, she still games.
Oh, okay.
Not as much as I was. She games, maybe an hour per week. She likes to play Sims, and it's like, yeah, like that's fine if she wants the game. My conviction with video games is not her conviction, right?
Got it. Yeah.
But she notices the benefit in me that I don't play, right? So it's where was I going with that kind of rabbit trailing? Yeah. Long story short, it's basically like I get a lot more fulfillment out of and excitement out of my work. I've become a lot more creative because I just take time and I just sit and I just think. I meditate, I pray, I read a lot more. One of the downfalls has been on the weekends, especially your Friday nights, your Saturdays,
sure,
when you're really excited about spending time with the boys, maybe drinking some beer, gaming, and you're really excited. Like one negative has been, I do miss that. And yeah. I do miss hanging out with my friends because all my friends and all my family game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm part of this elite like friend group, right? That just like is super determined and super. It's like no, like I'm friends with normal people. I am a normal person.
Right.
And yeah, so that's been one of the downfalls is, I obviously miss hanging out with my friends and family, but I have my own convictions and reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. So
yeah, and it's funny that you say that because we can kind of catty corner. I know that like Andrew Tate is blowing up right now, and I just recently came across his content, and I really enjoy it. And some of the things that he talks about of just getting out of the matrix, not having this hive mind. One of the things that he talks about is like you are the sum of the 5 people that you're around, and I hate to say it, like my friends are just playing video games. I mean, some of them are professionals; they're making a lot of money. Others, are still trying to find their groove in life and stuff like that. But having a friend group that complements your goals is so huge. Like because if you're hanging out with people on the weekend and if they're playing video games and if they're drinking and if they're doing drugs, and that's how they kind of get their fix out of things, then it's hard not to go back into those same patterns as them or to kind of just be mediocre and kind of do those things. So how have you kind of adjusted not having that kind of pull, or I mean, having that pull to kind of go back into video games, to hang out, to do those things. Because, like I said, like I completely agree with you. You know, um, when it comes to like trying to build your business and trying to build an agency or trying to fulfill your dreams, like if you're not 100% having your focus and dedication to it, then you're not going to accelerate as fast as you could if you were, you know, just having all these different things that are pulling your attention. So,
Yeah.
all to say, like, how have you coped with that, or what are you doing to safeguard yourself from not getting back on that video game track and just hanging out with your friends and bullshitting and stuff like that?
That's a good question, and it's been I've been challenged the last few weeks because so I actually a couple weeks ago I went to Mexico with my wife, and we spent a week in Cancun there. But I had one sleepless night there because I was just thinking I was actually thinking about death, and thinking that everyone's gonna die and no one can take anything with them
Oh yeah, 100%.
to the afterlife, right? And so it was difficult because there's been parts of my brain that is like I don't know if you've ever read a book, but there's this book by Dr. Joe Dispenza.
No, I've never read a book ever.
Sorry, like what I meant to say is I don't know if you've ever read a book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Oh, okay.
And
No, I
this
haven't read
book,
that.
you've read it?
No, I haven't read. No, no.
Oh, okay. Well, this book basically talks about the idea of how it's sort of that, you know, affirmation thing, you know, visualization in your mind, like what you want. Like, you know, if you want, let's say a Lamborghini, then you have to visualize, you know, driving it and stuff, and like all of this stuff, right? So it talks a lot about that from a very scientific point of view. And part of it talks about how when you make a drastic change in your life for the better, your subconscious mind and your body will actually fight you, and they'll fight you to try to go back into the old bad habits that you were in because they're comfortable, right? And so a lot of that has been going on in my mind, but of like trying to go back, like part of my mind is like fighting and being like, no, just go back into the old comfortable habits that you're used to, right? And so that's a fight. And like I it's not like I've gone back to playing video games, but it's the desire to go back that is the fight, right?
Yeah.
But I had a sleepless night in Mexico because I was so focused on success and so focused on let's just say materialistic things. And when I was in Mexico, I had a sleepless night because I was like, why am I spending so much energy focusing on these materialistic things, you know, trying to earn X amount of money and you know, buying this type of house and like all this stuff. Why am I spending so much energy on that if I'm just going to die anyway? I'm not going to be able to take any of it. If I build an empire, a huge company, I'm just going to die anyway. Everyone's just going to die, right? And so that was where the challenge came. And so, you know, part of it, you know, that's been why I've been kind of like, well, I should just go back to playing. But it's like, no, there's it's deeper than that. It's like, even though, you know, it seems like let's just live for now, let's just enjoy ourselves now. It's like my beliefs and what kind of guides me kind of goes back to my faith, right? And I have a belief that, you know, God put me here for a purpose, and part of that purpose is to serve my wife to the best of my ability, serve my family. We don't have kids yet, but you know, once we do, then you know it'll be to serve them, but then also serve my community, right? And I can either live to pleasure myself, or I can live to serve those around me, which is what I believe the calling on my life has been, and which is what I believe the general calling on men should be, is to serve their families, serve the women in their life, serve the children in their life, right? So that's kind of what pulls my head out of my ass when I think, oh, I should just go back to playing, you know. So
Yeah,
how
that's
many?
good. I mean, I know like I've been kind of like I said I've been on the Andrew Tate train, and he talks a lot about like just worldly possessions, materialism, and getting cars, getting women, getting status, um, and those things in and of itself is not necessarily bad, but that cannot be your only purpose in life. If you're just tied to things that are of this world, they're like you said, you can't take that with you into the afterlife. You can't take that with you when you see God. Like, what are like, even though those things are good, and I think when you're talking about being able to just juxtapose those things, like, yes, I am going to die, but that doesn't mean I need to waste my time with video games. That means I should double down and try to do as much as I can to help others, to help serve my wife, to help serve the future family that I'm kind of cultivating and preparing for. So that's really all good, man. I think
Yeah,
for myself, like, I think I get caught up in the hype. Like, oh shit! Like, I want the mansions, I want the cars, I want the bitches. I mean, not
everyone
like
does.
all that, but there's a level where when you have that, like, you're seen as the man, the dude, you're high value. But I think being a Christian and being a person that like wants to love the Lord and love His family, um, like you have to you have to prioritize like our purpose in life, and bringing everything back down to those things. And that's amazing, man. Yeah, that's really encouraging.
100%.
And it really brings me back into focus on like my purpose and my calling, because um, it's easy to kind of get caught up in the hype trains and in the world. um, but yeah, that's good.
Yeah, there's yeah, and like with with the materialistic stuff, it's like if anyone that's read the Bible can see that Jesus actually talks about the merit of being poor, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this day and age. Well, I mean, for all time in general, people like to aim for being rich and having all this stuff and everything, not realizing there's actually a lot of dangers that come along with wealth. There's
Sure.
dangers in being poor, and there's dangers with wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, I think it's actually easier to be poor than it is to be rich
Mm.
from a spirit and soul point of view. Because when we're rich, we think we're the shit and we don't need God. And oftentimes we have trouble sleeping because we're worried that people are going to take our wealth away
Mm-hmm.
or we're going to lose it,
Yeah.
right? Whereas when you're poor, you just need to survive basically, right? Which is not very hard to do,
Yeah.
right?
And, and
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 so
yeah, Jesus talks about that too, like, blessed are the poor because theirs is the kingdom of God. They understand
exactly,
that uh, like, this world is going to end, and I will be in eternity with Him. So um
exactly.
and to
Now,
juxtapose that.
I'll just say real quick. Now, does that mean that we shouldn't strive to make money? No,
Right.
I don't think so. I think
Right.
it's a good thing to actually be wealthy, because wealth is a tool that you can use, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. It's kind of like what you said. You can either look at it and be like, life is short, so live for now, do what you want, or life is short, so make the most of your time and double down on serving. I
Yeah.
pick this column, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's not up for me to decide which column you should pick. It's for everyone themselves to decide which column they should pick,
Yeah.
basically, right?
And I mean, like the Bible talks about specifically, like, money is not the root of all evil. I think a lot of people misquote that verse, and they say
Totally.
money's bad, money's the root of all evil. It's anything that you idolize before God, right? So money, the love of money, can definitely be the root of all evil. The love
Yeah.
of having fast cars and Lamborghinis and status is probably terrible for your relationship with God, because you're putting those things before, like anything that you can idolize. Even I had a funny story in missions. I was like taking a shower one night, and I felt like the Lord said to shampoo my hair 7 times. So I was like, okay, God, like this is so weird. And by the fifth time, I'm like, I don't know, like for some reason, like I had it in my mind, if I kept doing this, like all my hair was gonna fall out. And I was like, God, I don't want to do this. All my hair's gonna fall out. All this shampoo is gonna kill my hair. And then when I did it at the seventh time, I did it. He's like, don't make this an idol in your life. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh no, my hair is an idol, Lord. But yeah, so I think like what you're saying, like we have to have a greater purpose, because at the end of the day, we can't take these things with us. All these things are gonna leave us. Our bodies, our mind, like our hair, everything is just gonna be in the grave. The only thing that we can really bring to the Lord are the people and the relationships that we've made on this earth, that we brought closer to Him.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
And it shows that we have like 6 minutes left, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
no worries. How much time you got left, man? Like, I don't want to take all your
I'm
time up.
I'm good, man. Like I have a pretty open evening, so
Okay, cool. Because I just kind of had a couple more questions, if you don't mind.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I know we talked about like could you define an NPC, or somebody who's being an NPC?
Yeah, that's a great question. So
I
in
know
my
it's
opinion,
great. It's great because I mean I listen to, like I said, Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate, and stuff like that, and a lot of people say people that are blue pilled or still living in the Matrix. I kind of feel like that's a similar analogy to what an NPC
a-
is.
absolutely. Yeah, and that's exactly it, right? So people that um and the reason I specifically chose the term NPC is because my channel is about video games, and an NPC is something in a video game, right? So it's
Yeah.
something that a gamer can relate with.
Right.
But it's this idea that you're just kind of going through life on autopilot through your just living to the dictates of your human nature,
Hmm.
for lack of a better term, being very animalistic in terms of just not really, because animals don't think, why am I here and where am I going.
Right.
Animals just do what they were designed to do, right?
Right.
And humans have a specific human nature. Same with NPCs. They were designed to do something. Now the analogy kind of breaks down, because humans were designed to do something, in my opinion, by God, but actually choose to reject that, versus an NPC just does what, it's a robot. It just
Right.
does what
Right. It's
it,
designed to say those 5 lines to you every single time.
exactly. But where I make the connection is just like, it's just like a passive thing, and like someone going through life making their own decisions, and then they come across these NPCs which are just affected by whatever is hitting them, right? They react to you. They don't create reactions, and most people just kind of coast through life, not really thinking too much about why they're here or where they're going. They consume the news and they just react to what's being thrown at them. They're not creating reactions, right? So like I like to say, I would rather create reactions than to react, which is why I love creating TikTok content, and I hate scrolling. Right? Every time I find myself scrolling, it's like something inside of me, like, it's anxious, and I'm like, what am I doing, right?
Mm,
And because it's like, other people have created these videos for me to react to.
right.
I would rather be the one creating videos for you to react to
Right.
it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that's the idea, is breaking out of the NPC mindset, is basically becoming, let's say, player one, for lack of a better term. Now you're making the decisions. You're not just being tossed side to side by what's thrown at you.
Yeah.
You're thinking for yourself, right? Just because the media says, hey, you should go do this, doesn't necessarily mean you should go do this, right? Use your brain, right? So, that's sort of why I chose that term. It's not like a perfect analogy, but it's good enough.
No, it's definitely good enough because I mean, we it's easy to be a consumer. It's easy to be a scroller. It's hard to create content and to be consistent with it, you know. And I always have these fits of like I go like a month hard and then I'm just like and then I'm just like caught scrolling.
Yeah.
I guess what is your advice for people that are trying to kind of get out of that mold of being an NPC and or like just being a consumer of content and want to get more into that realm of creation?
Can we jump on another call here?
Oh
We
yeah,
have, like,
for sure.
Yeah. All right.
Right now I am really big into. I'm getting into Apex.
Oh yeah.
It's so I've been like for the last 3 years, like ever since the pandemic, and I'm not gonna try to blame COVID on anything or anything like that, but in a little bit of like it is kind of like shit. Like there was nothing to do, and you just like
Yeah.
got done with work, and you're like, all right, let's jump on with the homies.
Yeah. Totally.
But I played a lot of Warzone and was
Yeah.
getting big into that. So yeah, I really loved Warzone and played it religiously. And then my friends were like, "You should play Apex. You should play Apex. You should play Apex." And I'm like, Warzone's the best game in the world. Blah blah blah. And then I said, because I like grew up playing Modern Warfare and stuff like that. So when Warzone came out, it was, and I like I played Fortnite a couple times, but I understood the concept of like the shrinking circles and teams and stuff like that. So that it to incorporate that in Warzone, where you have like all the same equipment as Modern Warfare and the same type of game mechanics and stuff like that. It was like a no brainer. I loved it. Like it just, and that's why I think so many people, it exploded. Because of
Totally.
just the nostalgia and the game feel of the past game. Anyways, so then my buddy's like, you need to get on Apex. It's like this skill ceiling on that is like way higher, and so I started playing Apex, and it's been so enjoyable that I'm like, I don't even want to play like Warzone anymore. I mean, I'll play it like here and there if like my buddies, or if they're not wanting to play Apex, then we'll like play that. But yeah, man, I need to just take my system and throw out the window.
Yeah, I was the same way. I started with Warzone and then went to Apex, and it was so much harder at first. But yeah, I eventually I used to rock Bloodhound, so that was my main.
Yeah. Right now I'm with I don't even know her name, but she like revives you and like the health person.
Oh, yeah. Is it?
I can't. Lifeline.
Lifeline.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'm like, what is their name? So I've been doing like, but I'm a guy that like solo pushes teams. So like I probably should be using like a different character that's like more mobile. I just kind of like we've needed more of a support in our like group, so I like just kind of gravitated towards her.
Lifeline's so OP though with those one tap reses. Like,
Oh yeah. So good. The thing is, I'm like so busy trying to fight the team. They're like, "Res me! You can freaking res me!" And I'm just like, "Wait, let me get these teams down." They're like, this is not what you do. You're supposed to run. So my friends are always like yelling at me. They're just so mad whenever I'm like not resing them. But sometimes when you're in your team fight, you can't just go out and res. But I probably should play that anymore. Anyways, all to say, don't be an NPC. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So you asked me a question. Could you repeat that question? Before we jumped off.
Yeah. So, what's your advice for guys who are trying to build a business that have a love for video games, that are struggling to fight that urge or to get rid of it? Like, what are your advice for them to help them kind of make that switch of getting these dopamine highs and getting more centered in your relationships and the community and building your business?
I would say probably just start reading. Start reading some self-help books. Like I could list a ton of books that have impacted my life.
Top 3.
Top 3.
Yeah. Or 5. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Let me pull up my Audible.
Nice.
So I would say Relentless is a really good book by Tim Grover.
Okay.
I won't dig into each of these, but Relentless, Atomic Habits, Dopamine Nation, game changer, total game changer. Like it will make you look at all the habits in your life.
Yeah, sorry, you said Relentless, Dopamine Habits.
So yeah, Relentless, Dopamine Nation, and
Dopamine Nation.
Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits. Okay.
Yeah. Those are really a really great 3 books to start with.
Okay.
Because Atomic Habits is going to talk about the idea of the little things every day add up to something really, really big over time.
Mm-hmm.
Dopamine Nation talks about the science behind dopamine and the relationship between pain and pleasure. Really, really fascinating book. And Relentless talks about the idea of he talks about this idea of being a cooler, a closer, and a cleaner. So you know what a closer is, right? It's someone that goes out and gets that deal. It like closes the deal. It's like so there's a level even deeper, which is only about where 1% of people operate, and that's called a cleaner. And that's like the people that's a cleaner is someone who you're calling when everyone's hitting the oh shit button. You're calling the cleaner to come clean up the mess because they just clean up the mess. They get it done. They're not doing it for fame. They're not doing it for anything like that. They just know how to get shit done. Like Michael Jordan was a cleaner. Kobe Bryant was a cleaner. They just won the game basically, right?
Got it. Highly skilled, highly proficient assassins of their trade type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Like how to be the top 1% basically. It'll motivate you like crazy. Highly recommend that book. But yeah, so I would say number 1 is start reading more and don't worry too much about changing yourself. Just start focusing like in terms of like, don't worry too much about quitting video games right now or something like, but just start reading more, start making, those little good decisions. And then at some point, if you keep going down that road of self-improvement, at some point, you're going to have the epiphany in your brain that's going to go just say, I'm just going to quit. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm not going to think about quitting on this day or on this day, or, you're just going to go, I'm just going to quit completely. Right. Yeah. And I'm just going to start. And
did that happen for you? Is that how that happened for you?
Yeah, it was it was just, I was driving home. We were traveling from Calgary, and I was just like, I'm done. I'm 27 years old. I'm almost 30. What the hell am I doing here, right? I was like, I was like, video games is taking so much time. I need to get my ass in gear. I'm just gonna quit. If I keep playing, it's just gonna, all my goals and stuff is just gonna drag on, and I might achieve them, but it might take me exponentially longer to achieve them than if I just quit video games now and start exercising to improve my brain, my mental, start taking vitamins, drinking water to improve my health, reading more, and working on my businesses, right? So video games has freed up quitting video games has freed up so much time.
So you just kind of outlined it right there. Reading, drinking water more, exercising,
yeah,
working on your business,
spending time with family,
and just filling in those gaps with those things.
Yeah, and it's not a crime to hang out with friends, and it's like that's the good side of video games that I see, is it allows you to really hang out with people in your life that matter to you. It makes it really easy to do that. Discord channels and all that stuff. You jump in, it's just a great time. It's just a bunch of guys that you love and just hang out with. So if you do decide to quit video games, it's going to be important to keep those relationships intact. So something me and my wife do is we try to play board games with our friends every weekend. Right?
Oh, okay.
We'll go over there and bring drinks and stuff, and we'll hang out and have fun. And we're still playing games. It's not a video game. We play a bunch of different board games, but it's a little bit different. It's not something where it can just sneak up on me at the end of the day and be like, I'm gonna sneak in 1 hour of board games. It's like, no, it
has to be a very intentional, planned out time, and
exactly.
And you're still present there, but you're just kind of playing a game. Whereas video games, you can get locked in, and even if you're talking about a subject, you're like,
yeah. One thing that might actually be beneficial for you is, even if you don't want to cut it out completely right now, but let's say you want to cut down on your gaming, one thing that would be beneficial, set aside gaming times and actually take your PlayStation and put it in the closet until your set time. Make it hard for you to actually do that thing. Do you know what I mean? Put some sort of barrier there, right? That will actually help you.
Right, because if you unplug your system, you put it in the closet, it's going to take a while for you. I mean, not a while, but if you really want it, you're going to have to get that out, plug everything back in, log back on, everything like that. No, that's really good. Yeah, I mean, my PlayStation is right by my feet, and it's just boop, like a click away, and so that's really good. That's really good. Well, thanks so much, Lucas. I mean, this was amazing. I don't know. I feel like we've been talking for an hour now, but yeah, man, I just really enjoyed this chat, and comment, and subscribe onto the channel, and we're gonna link Lucas's channels on below, and you can check him out, give him a follow. Thank you so much, man, for doing this.
Paul.
And I know it was last minute and pretty random. You're like, hey, you want to collab? And you're just like, sure. So I really appreciate that, bro.
Love it, man. Thanks for the invite, and would love to do this in the future sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it again. All right, everybody.
All right.
Paulcast signing off.
Cheers. Don't be an NPC.
Don't be an NPC. Hey, don't hang